Yes. First, congratulations and thank you to Coach Skinner and the women's volleyball team for making the Final Four and doing it in straight sets so everybody could make it over here in time for the Kentucky-Indiana game. Coach Skinner just seems to always do everything perfectly, and once again, he's done it. So we're excited for those guys. He just is. He's. I think what he's doing is pretty much unprecedented in sport. Really, he's like somewhere next to John Wooden in terms of what's happening. So it's pretty amazing to watch those guys. A ton of love for BBN for showing out tonight. They were just unbelievable in the gym, and we're so grateful. We never take it for granted how undying, loyal, and faithful, and hanging in there with us BBN is. It's just the greatest fan base in the world, and it's fun to start this Kentucky-Indiana rivalry back up. So hit me with questions.
Mark, it seems like tonight you guys had some guys knocking the rust off. You had that had been coming back with like Jalen Lowe tonight. Mo comes back. But how much of a spark did Mo, Jalen, and even Brandon bring tonight when you guys went on that run where you took the lead?
Well, we have good stories. You know, when you go through a ton of adversity and you get out the other side, you got a lot of good stories. So it's fun to have good stories. Today's Mo's birthday, and this was a game perfectly suited for Mo. He was elite on the defensive end. His physicality and doing it legal was elite. He was great on the glass. It was awesome to have him back. I mean, he's such a great competitor. I think it's been killing him to be out, and so it was great to have him back. I thought it was incredible. J-Lo, the best. There were a lot of favorite moments in the game, but one of my favorite moments in the game was J-Lo had missed yet another uncontested layup, and we were sitting in a timeout, and I was like, hey, that just means you're one closer to make, man. Be hyped about it. Like, you're just one closer to making one. And what was great, that comment wasn't great. What was great was that he was sitting to my left, and his four teammates sitting in the chairs turned to him and said exactly the same thing. They all jumped in. He's like, yeah, shoot it, man. Let's go, let's go, let's go. And then, of course, the first shot he makes after missing all of the shots that I preach and teach and talk about is a step back 15-footer. So go figure. But it was fun to see his competitive spirit come through tonight. And then Brandon Garrison. Our job is to win. Our job is to win. And in some respects, nothing matters besides us winning. That is our job. But in the process, watching guys grow is pretty awesome. And I was really proud of BG tonight.
Mark, right here. This summer, you talked about laying the foundation defensively. Tonight, 18 forced turnovers have been flashes up to this point. Can you just talk about that and also the effort on the defensive end? It looks like that picked up both areas.
Yeah, in this Indiana team just scored 113 points, right, against a really good Penn State team. They're a potent offensive force. I think they started the season scoring 100 points every game, it seemed like, and I actually love watching them on film. They're so smart and they confuse you so much with slips and peels and screens and double screens and slips to flares and they combine all these actions and it's really not play calling. It's the guys. Coach has done a great job about teaching those guys how to kind of get to all that stuff in the flow of the offense. And so we knew we had a huge challenge. I was really proud of our communication tonight. I thought the guys really were trying to fly around and I thought they did a good job communicating. I thought Coach Fox had the scout. I thought he did a terrific job preparing our guys.
Coach, there were a couple of times tonight where it would be second, third, fourth, fifth, even fifth chance to get the ball into the basket and get those points. How important was that effort and having that momentum shift in the second half?
Yeah, I mean, it's 14 offensive rebounds for 18 points in a slow game. Like, it was such a slow game. It was a foul-ridden, just walking-up game. We could never get some pace to the game. Credit Indiana for that. So it was the whole game. As stories unfold, ironically, as a staff, we've been really frustrated about our ineffectiveness wedging. So it's one of our 3 100% that we track every day. We actually had we've been dealing with a lot of internal conversations and frustration, and we just haven't been very successful on the glass in a while. And to the point where the guys were frustrated. We do wedge corrections every single day of last day's practice and last day's games, and they were being half-hearted and whatever. And finally, Coach Feger, who's in charge of that part of our team, that metric, lost his mind in a film session. I mean, he lost his mind like I've never seen him. I've been with him for like 60 years, and he just lost his mind. And so it was fun to see these guys embrace the idea that we wedge to win. We don't wedge to do a job or fulfill a quota. We wedge to win. And certainly without our work on the offensive glass, we were not a pretty offensive team tonight. And so you take away the offensive glass, we have no chance to be in this game. And so these guys offensive rebound to win the game.
And Mark, next time I'm struggling to write a story, can you come yell at me and maybe break a clipboard? 'Cause I'm curious because branding players, the way people talk about younger people nowadays could have gone the opposite direction
sure.
when you lied into them.
For
How
sure.
confident you were you wouldn't, and what about the process? Can you walk through that?
Well, I don't think you're ever really confident. I think I actually don't like. I don't want to make a bigger deal of anything than it was, but it's not. You can't burn hot all the time. I don't think as a coach now, but I think there's times where you're kind of left with nothing else a little bit, and you're exactly right. That's the tough thing. I wish I could tell you I know how every player is going to react to every confrontation or conversation I have with them, but you don't. It's just like your children, you don't. So I'm left with just real pride. Like BG's mom should be really proud, and his inner circle should be really proud, because there's something inside him, and I think we talked about this at the press conference maybe, but there was something inside him and listen, there's no, there's no way to hide from any spotlight here at Kentucky. Like every single little moment of our game and interactions is blown up, which is one of the great things about this place. But there were 100 reasons why BG could have gone in the corner and complained with a teammate or called out the coaches or hung up his jersey or come and bid a pouty guy in practice. There were 1,000 reasons why that could have been his reaction. But due to like what's inside him and how he wants to be a father example to his son and how he wants to, make his mom proud and how badly he wants to be successful in the process of him growing up to be hopefully a great man, which hopefully he can do. It'd be worth everything. He showed up to practice, and we go through practice. He has a great practice, and then we don't do a ton of conditioning in practice, but this day we did, and he just on his own just won every sprint, out-sprinted every guard, every single person, and I didn't tell him to do that. I didn't pre-prep him to do that. That was just his response, and we don't always respond the right way, but he responded the right way, and I'm super proud of him. I'm happy for him, and it's like our job is to win. That's it. But those things are really special to me. They're really special, and that's going to be in his pocket. It's going to be a little part of his DNA, and it doesn't mean he's going to respond right all the time, but it means there's a way better chance next time in life, in basketball, in whatever, that he's going to have a chance to respond better, and that's how you become a great man. It's pretty cool.
Mark, when it comes to your all's offensive flow, what kind of difference do you see when Jalen is on the floor?
We're not a thing of beauty right now. Actually, that's not true. That's not true. I actually thought it was beautiful tonight because the relentless force was beautiful. But there's not a lot of pretty offense out there. We're still trying to find ourselves. J-Lo certainly helps us. I thought he was great today with driving lines, great with KD in an incredibly physical game. I thought our guys were extraordinary in the gap. So we talk about winning the gap all the time, and that's one of the things that Indiana does great. That's the way they turn you over. Is you go into the gap, and they've kind of sucked everybody in there, and it's just all hands on the ball. And, I think for the game, guys, we had 4 turnovers, which is incredible. Because we didn't make any shots, right? And so it was just kind of like this mucky, like forced it inside game. And I thought J-Lo was really terrific for the most part, being able to kind of reattack and use the Gortat and use the seal screen and kind of find a way in there to actually make some things happen. And you know, once he gets his rhythm back and makes some of those bunnies, you know, he would have had a really impactful game.
Hey, Mark, to follow up on all the question there about the offense was, and I know you love numbers, so I'll throw two at you.
Yeah.
One, this was the fewest points you've scored in a win here,
Yeah.
and this also was the worst shooting percentage in a win
Yeah.
here. So for you, just how important was it for this team's psyche that on a night the shots just were not falling, that you guys just outgritted them?
Well, I think it's you know, we're probably somewhat in that space. So listen, I have a pretty good sense of I don't know if you guess how things are going to go, but once you kind of start down a path, I think you have a pretty good sense of how you dig yourself out. And the chances of us playing a game right now where we are just firing on all cylinders and making every shot, that's probably not where we are in our confidence and our courage and our spirit right now. Right now, like to tip the needle and bring back some belief and consolidate ourselves as a team, it's probably going to be like gross, beautiful basketball like it was tonight, right? And so it's important. I think this is probably how we had to find our way, and it's probably not the last time we're going to have to find our way this way, but it's okay because our guys can do it. They can do it.
DeMarcus Cousins obviously tweeted after the Gonzaga loss that he felt like the team was playing with no heart. Tonight felt a little bit different. You had guys, you know, diving on the floor. It was more scrappy. So how do you assess kind of the shift that the team has made in the heart?
Well, listen, I don't shy away from the truth, even when it hurts. We might as well own it. So we tried to own it as a team. Like we talked about it and just like, listen, this is no time to deflect comments like that from people that love this program. DeMarcus loves this program. Like he's proud of this place, man. He's like he wants these guys to represent. So it's you own it. Like you know, we've had a lot of conversations with the team about like guys, this is actually what we're putting on the court right now. And I think that if the quicker you own it, the quicker that you can change it. And I couldn't be more proud of the way that these guys won the game tonight because it was ugly and it was full of heart. It was full of intensity. Like we finished the half and there was no energy in the gym and there was no energy and it was a mucked up, foul-ridden, slow as molasses game. We're down 7 and it was just like these guys just had to go self-create the energy on the defensive end and on the glass and so I'm really happy with the guys. We just got to move on to the next step. We're going to have to embrace this personality for a while, I think. I do think we have a chance to grow into an elite offensive team. I just don't think it's going to happen tomorrow.
Coach, kind of more on that second half. You go in down 7. There's some scattered boos. The building's kind of shaken up. Can you just talk about the team responding to adversity through that?
Yeah, like I said, I'm really proud of the guys. We talked about it all week. One of the things we've been really disappointed in is in high level games. We've been very poor in our response to adversity. Like we just haven't rallied around each other. We've had some go away instead of some dig in, and I thought that was the opposite tonight. And we're going to need to continue to practice that. It's actually a practice skill, and we're going to need to continue to talk about it and make it a real thing so that when it happens, it's not a surprise that we know how we're going to react. And we had guys step up and help do this. I'll tell you what, this Otego away, anyway, it was, so I was proud of the guys, and it's where we're going to have to live, and it's cool. I love living here. Like, this is awesome.
Mark, obviously there's been talk about maybe shortening the rotation a little bit. We didn't see Yelovich on the court today. Is that just shortening the rotation? Is there something more there? Or?
Yeah, I actually had no idea where the rotation would go today. I didn't know how Cam was going to feel on the court today. I had no idea how Mo was going to feel on the court today. I did feel like there was space for Yellow to be really effective in this game. I actually felt like it made some sense. He's our most effective post player, especially at the 4. And this mucked up game kind of felt that way. But the game just kind of told us where to go, and the guys responded pretty well. So I expect Yella is going to help us in the future for sure. You know, Colin had a little bit less rotation. Jasper had a little bit shorter rotation after being our leading scorer last game. Trent maybe had a little bit shorter rotation, but that's just the nature of the game and what the game was calling for tonight. And if we can embrace that, we can win a lot of different ways.
Coach, you had some concerns about the team's competitiveness the last couple of weeks. How much of that change was due to Jalen coming back and Mo coming back, or was it just the whole team maybe flipping a
I
switch?
think it takes all of us. I think it's all of the things, and we dipped our toe in it, and we got to double down. We got to double down, and we got to see if you know the nice thing about a season is that the whole every day we tell a defining story about what a team is. So in a day, we say this team is this or this team is that. And that's fans' job and that's media's job, right, is to make an evaluation on a team. But as a team in our inner circle, we're a work in progress, and we know that. And so we know what we were yesterday, but that doesn't mean we're going to be that today. And in fact, if we're the same thing we were yesterday, then what are we doing with the season, right? So we're excited to grow. These guys are committed to grow. We have to grow. You know, we got to get a lot better, and we will.
Coach, on that note, growth can be messy and it can be loud,
Yeah.
especially with young men. Playing in Kentucky, these young men have a big spotlight on them. Do you find that you're trying to clarify the difference between struggle and failure with them? Because they can get in their own heads, especially with the amount of pressure on them to win here.
Yeah. Listen, we're tight. I mean, we're tight. We only shot 15 threes today, and we're 3 for 15. We're tight. It's okay. Like, that's actually a part of basketball. You know, I don't love the players that I'll make fun of a guy because I'm like, oh, you got nervous, you got scared. And there's those guys that are like, nah, I never get scared. Come on, man, what are we talking about? We all get scared. We all get nervous. Own it and let's grow from it, right? And so we're a little tight right now, but we're gonna get great, man. We'll be relentless, and we will ourselves into playing some great basketball, and we just willed ourselves into a win tonight, and that's what we had to do. That's probably what we have to do right now. But if we do that enough, then all of a sudden, like, we're gonna have some belief that we can win this way, and things are gonna loosen up a little bit, and that's just the process. It's not rocket science. If you've been around sports, you know that's the process. That's where we are right now. We have the guys to do it. All right, guys, thank you.